floor. Just in front of that mirror, girl, you twerking it on the dance floor. Just in front of that mirror, girl, you twerking it on the twerking it on the. Just in front of that mirror, girl, you twerking it on the dance floor. Just in front of that mirror, girl, you twerking it on the floor. Twerking it on the dance floor. Twerking it on the dance floor. Twerking it on the dance floor.
All right, hey guys. So today I was tagged in a post by Dr. Hyman, which said too many people are counting calories and not enough people are counting chemicals. And I just wanted to remind you guys that literally everything in the physical universe is made up of chemicals. And just as an example, here's a picture of a list of all of the things found in all natural blueberries. And I think that this goes to show that chemicals aren't bad in and of themselves, and anything can be toxic at high enough of a dose. And I did a video about this at length before, and I'll just put a link to that over here. So this post led me to a video which was titled 5 Simple Steps to Burn Fat Without Eating Less. And I think that this video tells us a couple of important things. First of all, it tells us that medical doctors aren't necessarily authorities on topics related to nutrition and fitness. Secondly, I think it tells us that we need to follow the money trail when people are offering us advice when it comes to nutrition and fitness. And I think we need to be especially skeptical of people who claim to have some secret or some special knowledge that they're willing to tell us for a price. Now, he actually only offers 3 tips in the video, so I'll just take them one at a time. The first tip is that eating meals more frequently gives you a slow, steady burn effect from the food and a faster, hotter metabolism. Now, we know that this simply isn't true. A 2009 systematic review with 60 referenced studies concluded there is strong evidence to suggest that there is no association between eating frequency and weight status, and that the limited evidence available suggests no association between body composition and eating frequency. Now, he dismisses the KICO, or calories in, calories out model, just out of hand, and I've done another video, which I'll link here, explaining this in a little more detail. But for now, I'll just suffice it to quote a 2004 landmark paper titled "Is a Calorie a Calorie?", where they concluded, "A calorie is a calorie. From a purely thermodynamic point of view, this is clear because the human body, or indeed any living organism, cannot create or destroy energy, but can only convert energy from one form to another." He goes on to say that eating late at night is a bad idea, but this is just a complete myth. In fact, a recent study on 78 police officers found greater weight loss after a 6-month diet with most of the carbs eaten in the evening instead of at breakfast. But even this is just noise in my opinion, when we view it through the lens of the calories in, calories out model, where we know that over time, the major determining factor of whether we lose or gain weight is going to be our energy balance. That is to say, the calories that we're eating versus the calories that we're expending. He then goes on to make a big deal out of eating breakfast. And this is something that is far from well agreed upon in the literature. Now, I'll just quote a 2014 paper in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, which concluded, "A recommendation to eat or skip breakfast for weight loss had no discernible effect on weight loss in free living adults who were attempting to lose weight." I will note that eating 3 to 5 high protein meals throughout the day does seem to have a beneficial effect in terms of lean mass accrual or building muscle mass compared to a lower frequency diet. And I'll just refer you guys to the research of Dr. Stu Phillips for more information about that. So his second tip is just to eat more protein. Specifically, he says that protein increases caloric fat burning and controls appetite. Now, he's actually right here, but I think he's massively exaggerating. Eating a high protein diet does increase thermogenesis. It does cause you to burn more calories per day than would eating a low protein diet. But it's not a miracle cure like he makes it out to be. And if you simply increase protein without decreasing calories overall, then you will just simply gain weight. Now, the role of protein in suppressing appetite is what I believe to be the major factor here, and it has been shown that people tend to eat less when they increase protein in their diet. It's also good for building muscle, which he doesn't mention in the video at all. So Dr. Hyman then goes on to say that low-fat diets don't work, which is just patently false. He says that low-carb diets do work, but they're unhealthy and they give you hemorrhoids. And this is just all nonsense because we know that any diet will work in terms of weight loss if it puts you in a calorie deficit. But I think his biggest mistake in this tip was citing a study that said increasing protein to 36% of daily calories caused an extra 71 calories to be burned per day, and that over the year that translates to an extra 7.4 pounds of weight loss. But we just can't simply extrapolate 71 calories per day and do the simple math and get to 7 or 8 pounds lost over the course of the year. If we did this, where would the extrapolation end? After 3 years, we would have lost 21 pounds. After 30 years, would we lose 210 pounds? It's just too simplistic to actually have any practical application in the real world. Okay, so on to tip number 3. Here he claims that green tea turns up our fat-burning thermostat. And he cites a study that showed that supplementing catechins, which are compounds found in green tea, without changing caloric intake increased thermogenesis. Again, I think he's making a big deal out of thermogenesis, and he's over-exaggerating. And I'll just refer you guys to examine.com, which is an incredible resource for supplementation and nutrition information. And they concluded that there appears to be a slight but unreliable increase in fat oxidation associated with the consumption of green tea catechins. So he then goes on to brag for quite a while about the antioxidant properties of green tea. And he claims that they prevent damaging effects of free radicals on metabolism. And by this, I can only assume that he means they prevent oxidative damage on mitochondrial function. Now, I just want to point out that the whole hoopla over antioxidants in the media has been blown way out of proportion. And a lot of people don't seem to realize that the body has its own antioxidants that defend the body against reactive oxygen species, and that oxidative stress isn't necessarily a bad thing. For example, heat shock proteins, which are responsible for activating protective cellular functions, are inhibited by antioxidants. And I'll just quote neurologist Dr. Stephen Novella, where he says, antioxidants may one day play an important role in the treatment of certain diseases or in routine health maintenance, but so far there is insufficient evidence to make any confident predictions or to make specific recommendations. However, when it comes to the marketing hype for antioxidant products, I can make a clear recommendation: healthy skepticism. Okay guys, I hope that this video has been informative. If you did like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you for watching.
We done came up, that shit right there. Everybody love him. On the regular. Looking at popular colored faces, observing what my brother's faces, and all